Hey everyone, so this is Justice League #1, and this is a book I've been waiting for a few months now, ever since I knew they were going to be relaunching it. Um, so I'm going to try and keep this review a little bit shorter and still try and get all of the main important parts into it. So, um, right off the bat, I love this cover so much. Um, and I'm so excited to see basically the team from the original Justice League animated show back from 2001. Um, the only additions are uh, Cyborg and Aquaman, even though he did appear in the Justice League TV show. Um, he wasn't really an official part of the Justice League until later. But besides that, you have all of the classic characters. Um, the Flash is Barry Allen instead of Wally West, which honestly I would have preferred Wally West in this because, as you'll see, the way that apparently is the way to write Barry Allen nowadays um, totally fits Wally West's personality. So um, let's go ahead and get into it. So this is by Scott Snyder, who, for the most part, I like as a person. He just started a YouTube channel actually, and he seems like a nice guy. And when he gets criticism, when people yell at him for his books, like on Twitter or something, he'll message them and ask them, I'm sorry to hear you didn't like the book. What was it that you didn't like? How can we do better? So that really shows a lot about the person. But sometimes I think I can see why people get angry with him. Um, it kind of seems like the editors just let him have a couple. Just let him have a few series. He did good on Batman, and once he did good on Batman, they were like, okay, you can have whatever you want, and do whatever you want with it. So he just got off writing. What was he writing before this? I don't remember, but uh, I did read some of his Batman run, and I think it was really good. Unfortunately, he has had some bad issues, some bad series. Superman Unchained is a good example of that. It was one that a lot of people were excited for, but were ended up disappointed by. I never read all of it, so I am just repeating what I've heard, but I trust the people that I've heard that from. So that is what I am relaying to you guys. So we start off with the Hall of Justice, and again, I'm so excited to see this back in the DC universe, in the comics. I mean, I grew up watching Super Friends, so the Hall of Justice has always had a special place in my heart. Um, and they have all the suits of the superheroes on display. They have some of their artifacts on display. All of them are said to be inactive and disarmed. And I think I trust what Batman says. I mean, he's Batman, right? Maybe some of them, he can only turn on. But anyway, and it shows, it's the Hall of Justice has these secret doors in it. Um, Hidden doors that can only be opened by um, the mental waves, I guess, of the Justice League. So then we get the Justice League in action. Batman and Green Arrow are taking on. So like I guess they're these like Neanderthal type things, and they're in different parts of the Earth. I guess like they're in the air, they're in the Earth, in the Arctic, in the jungle, in the ocean. I'm not exactly sure where this one is. But anyway, they're all fighting in their respective terrains, and the dialogue is okay. It, um, they're basically explaining what these things are for the viewer or for the reader. And I mean, it feels very natural and everything, but that's what this whole page is explaining what they're fighting. The heat just kicked on. Can you hear that? But anyway, so here's what I'm talking about with the dialogue. Or I'm sorry, with Flash's dialogue. He starts mimicking Batman and Wonder Woman and of course Aquaman finds it funny, but Batman doesn't. It's just kind of it's not the best humor, and I really don't like this version of Barry Allen where he's all flippant and trying to be a ha-ha, the jokester, blah blah blah. That's not Barry Allen. That is Wally West, okay? I'm okay having that kind of a character in the book, but make sure it's actually the right character, not taking a character that should have the mature and honorable, you know, kind of character, and replace it with one that's immature and flippant and somebody who needs to learn a lesson. Sorry, a little bit of a rant, but it is a little frustrating. So anyway, while they're all fighting, Martian Manhunter is keeping them all connected with his mind. And I will say this, I do like this. It's like the narrator is actually narrating. Yeah, sometimes, well, actually a lot of times nowadays you don't get this at all. It's just strictly dialogue. But I do like this where it's explaining it from a third-person perspective and not like a cinematic perspective. You know what I'm saying? It makes it feel actually more like a comic book. So I do like that. So as they're fighting, the Martian Manhunter senses that the controlling part of these creatures it's in the moon, I guess. So he turns into this big old dragon and decides to fly into the moon. So meanwhile, Vandal Savage is having a meeting with all his minions, and who shows up? Lex Luthor. And basically he wrecks Vandal Savage and kind of takes over his base. So then we get a flashback to Martian Manhunter's past, and the death of his family. Well, the death of his species, really. It was very sad, actually, to read. But, it does add more to his character. So basically, so they were all connected through what was called the Great Mind, I guess. And if somehow it got a virus or something and it ended up destroying the Martians who were connected to it, which was basically everybody, the only one who disconnected from the Great Mind soon enough was Martian Manhunter. So therefore he's really the only survivor. So I'm sure that all will tie into the story later, even if it's just giving some character to John Jones, who's the Martian Manhunter's alter ego. It's still good. So this was cool. They, since of course Martian Manhunter is a telepath, he can set up a meeting where they don't have to all be there face to face. They can just all meet through Jean's mind, which I really like the concept of that. So yeah, again with Barry Allen, man, I know it's just my mind hugging you, but I'll take it. You did great, John. So, okay, I can't really picture like Grant Gustin saying that. That version of Barry Allen just seems too mature to be saying this kind of little kiddish stuff. So that is my biggest problem with this whole book, is how the Flash is depicted. So basically, they're trying to figure out what this. So this big comet is hurtling towards Earth, and it has all of the energy of the source wall. Which, if you don't know what the source wall is, it's basically where the origin of the universe came from, I guess. It's the most powerful source of energy in the entire universe, in the entire multiverse, and the Justice League broke that wall during Dark Knight's Metal, which I didn't read, but I gathered enough to know what's going on. I will read it eventually, but I don't want to buy it right now. And then also with No Justice, we saw the Omega Titans coming out of it as a result of that too. So a lot of stuff happened because the source wall was broken, and so that's what this crisis is hurtling out of. So they're all trying to figure out what to do about it. And apparently the multiverse is dying too. So they end up hoping that if they can somehow harness the energy inside of this, they can figure out why the multiverse is dying, stop it from happening, and save everybody and everything. Whew. That is one thing about Scott Snyder. He really thinks out his stories. Sometimes they get pretty complicated, but you know what? That makes it interesting. I didn't want to show that page just yet. Okay, well, since I'm here anyway. So basically, so then we skip to the Legion of Doom. And again, all the classic characters from the old Superman Super Friends TV show, with the addition of Joker, which I always thought he should be in the Legion of Doom anyway, and now he is. That is really cool to see them back and, formed as the Legion of Doom. I don't know if there's ever been a Legion of Doom in the comics before, but I am certainly glad that there is one now. And to be fair, they also did have this in Justice League Unlimited, but it's just cool to see it in the comics. So, they spend a good amount of time talking about that comet thing that's coming towards Earth, and then this gets a little dark. Lex Luthor decides to remove Vandal Savage from the equation, and ends up bludgeoning him to death. So pretty violent there. So as that's happening, Martian Manhunter is feeling Savage's pain, and he gets this vision. And he sees the sins of Vandal Savage. I don't know if this is Adam Strange or what, but I don't know if that's a version of Vandal Savage, or I'm not exactly sure. But I like the character design, and hopefully they explain who that person is. Obviously, that's Lex Luthor's arm, so I don't know if that was a past version of Vandal Savage or what. Hopefully that'll be explained in future issues. But anyway, he ends up seeing this big old face at the end of the universe, and I don't know. It's basically like he was staring death in the face, staring doom in the face. So yeah, that's kind of where we leave off. Kind of a dark place to leave off, but I am totally sold on this series. I thought this was more interesting than Avengers #1. This is probably my favorite series going on right now, and I really can't wait to see what happens next. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that review. Let me know what you thought of Justice League #1. I know it came out a couple weeks ago, so yeah, I'm just now getting to the review of it. Sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.